Happy New Year, happy 2023. This is the first video that's dropping for 2023. Now, 2023, you know what happened when I went to the gym, or when you go to the gym if you haven't been, you're going to see a bunch of unfamiliar faces, and people going to be using exercise equipment wrong because every new year we kind of look back and see what we did, what we could have done better. And one of those areas is always your physical health, getting yourself in shape. But what about flexing those financial muscles? So in this video, I'm gonna talk about where I dropped the ball in 2022. Now I will tell you, hey, when it comes to my financial goals that I set for me, and I'll probably link the video somewhere around here, even though I didn't accomplish my financial goals, I still made a lot of financial progress. So, hey, I'm not really looking at it as a failure. But during the course of the year, I decided to do some things different, reallocate some money to some places. And now we are going to talk about it. Stay tuned. Let's dive in. Let's get it. Yo, what's good? I'm Marcus. You're at the channel, The Debt-Free Dad. Hey, finances, financial takes, financial topics, attorney reaction, all that. Licensed attorney, not your attorney. Not legal or professional. Financial advice, just letting y'all know what we have going on over at the DFD household. Now, if you looked at my video I dropped at the beginning of 2022 about my financial goals, I really kind of focused on three things, okay? The first thing that I focused on was I never really maximized sinking funds, and I probably should. I know y'all chastising me out there, but I see people who got like they say in their videos they got like 15 accounts and 17 accounts, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's a little overkill. I'll have one or two accounts for general sinking funds, and even if I'm saving for two or three things, I'll just push all the money in those sinking funds. And that sounds like a good idea in theory, but I will tell you, as I actually had a chance to reflect, it's probably more advantageous to have sinking funds accounts set up for specific categories. So one of my things, the first thing I wanted to do was maximize sinking funds better. Now the reason I wanted to do that is because what will happen is I wouldn't save up for things that I knew I needed, like my bar dues. I know every year I got to pay about $800 to maintain my bar dues. I know every year I have some land and a house out of state that I got to pay about $1,100 in taxes on. I knew these things, but I never really set the money aside. So what will happen when I have those adult Christmas months, and adult Christmas months are the months where you get three paychecks, because I never set those sinking funds up, I would always have to use that third paycheck to kind of take care of the things that I knew I had to do, but I never really planned out or budgeted for. Vehicle registration, like I said, taxes, bar dues, things I knew I was going to need to spend money on, and I just kind of didn't have it saved up. So, did I make progress doing that? Yes and no, which essentially means a no. I did establish some more sinking funds to be able to save things up, but I just generally forget three categories. The three categories that I just always kind of forget and I've always left out were taxes for the property, bar dues, and what was the third one that I left at? I can't remember. It was another one. Vehicle registration was the last one that I for some reason I just never budget for those. Now when those expenses come up, because I am just stashing money away, even though my emergency fund is funded 6 months, I continue to put $250 every paycheck into that account. So I do have the money to just kind of cash flow it and then just keep picking up, getting right back on the wagon the following month. But it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I will give myself a fail in that category. I did not maximize the use of sinking funds. But hey, so far so good. I already got about $400 stashed away for Christmas of 2023. I've actually started a sinking fund for my taxes that are going to be due on my rental property for this year, and I actually set up a sinking fund because it was going to be due in July or August for my bar dues. So I got some time to rectify things for this year. So I definitely carved that out in the budget. Okay, the number two thing that I wanted to do, and probably the most important, now I did have another goal of I wanted to increase my net worth by $200,000. I'm going to save addressing that goal for when I do my net worth update because it's going to be a lot to dive in and it's going to be too damn long for this video. But the next goal I had was to pay $55,000 in total debt for 2022. Now I only have two outstanding debts. I have my primary residence mortgage, and I have my student loans. So let's talk about the mortgage first and talk about the progress I made because I really never isolated my mortgage payment out. So let's just take a look at it. My current monthly mortgage is $2,205.84. Now let's just kind of break that down. Of that, $899.11 is allocated to the principal. $774.16 is allocated to interest, and $532.57 is escrow for taxes on my primary residence and insurance. Now, I will tell you, my mortgage interest rate is 2.24%. When interest rates were at all time lows in 2020, we capitalized and refinanced, and that helped out tremendously because of my $2,200 mortgage payment, 42% goes towards the principal, and that is a big deal. So let's talk about what did I pay this year towards the mortgage. So when we're looking at just what goes towards the principal, we paid off $10,789.32 on our mortgage. But there's an extra caveat of that because last year I did set my mortgage payment up to be paid in two payments every month. I used to have it set up for one payment every month, but I actually switched it up to have it set up to have two payments come out every month. Because of that, when you have it come out twice a month, you have an extra payment that's going to be allocated. That extra payment goes completely to principal. It hasn't been processed yet, but it is about to be processed. So that extra payment of $2,205.84, because that extra payment is in fact an extra payment, all of that is going to go towards principal. So when the dust finally settles and all the smoke clears, the total that we paid off on the mortgage is $12,995.16. I put the number on the screen. You can see when we actually refinance, our mortgage loan balance was like $235 or $38,000. I'm going off the top of my head, but I'll put the images up. Right now, we're at 211, 210,000, but that doesn't take into account that final payment that's going to go all principal. So $12,995.16 is what we paid during the mortgage. Now let's get to the big one, the big dog, the student loan. At the beginning of the year, the student loan balance was $49,874. Now, let's just kind of talk about this for a while because I did not make as much progress as I wanted to on my student loans. Anybody who saw my last student loan update video, our current balance is $33,923.56. So, what does that mean? That means the total paid for this year towards the student loan was $15,924. Now the question comes up is why? Why in the world did we only pay $15,000 when the year prior we was just killing it because we was paying $3,000 every month, for some months over $3,000? Well, we kind of dialed things back. Now, I haven't completely compiled all of the numbers to break everything out because I'm in the process of doing that now. But we had on whole about $9,000 in total repair costs for everything throughout the year. Part of that was home repairs, some of that was car repairs. The vast majority of that was car repairs. When it comes to home repairs, our home repair bill was not that high. Car repair bill was high. You know why? Because we got two German cars. They are older model cars, and they're cars that I plan to keep. Now, I will tell you, in a typical calendar year, we would not spend that much. But I'm the type when I have some maintenance that needs to be done, I like to be ahead of the game. So I had some services that need to be done or didn't need to be done, but that should have been done that I wanted to get out of the way. These are services that once you get them done, you're probably not going to have to get them done for another decade. But they were things that needed to be done, and I wanted to get them ahead of the game. So that's just kind of how it is right now. Even at the beginning of the year, I took my wife's car to the shop because I knew that I had some things, some preventative things that I wanted to get done, and I want to get them replaced now. And I already know that that's going to cost me maybe 35 to 4 stacks. But one, I want to keep that car. It's a good car. And I kind of carved out that money in advance because I knew I already had to make those repairs. I knew I needed to eventually make those repairs in April. So from April until now, I just kind of stashed the money away so I can go ahead and make those repairs. But in general, on an average year, because the repairs I'm getting done now, the repairs that I got done last year were really just kind of anomalies. I went back and looked. On average, we would spend anywhere between 25 to $3,500 in repairs. That's your typical oil change, tire rotations, maybe getting new tires. So it typically doesn't cost that much. But last year was a year of, hey, some essential things got replaced, and that's why that bill was up high. So one, those repairs mainly to the vehicles, because the house wasn't too bad, kind of took away from my ability to one put that money on a student loan, because that's where it would have went had I not needed to make those repairs. But I wanted to get those repairs out the way because I don't know about y'all. I don't like riding my car until my car breaks down. When I take my car to the shop, I'm taking it in advance before something happens. That's just kind of how I am. I don't like, oh man, my car won't start. Let me take it to the shop. I smell smoke. Let me take it to the shop. Nah, I'm not built that way. When I carry my car to the shop, my mechanics are good. I'd be like, hey, give me a list of everything that needs to be replaced and the timeline it needs to be replaced. And then you let me know the order and priority that I'll get it done. And then I'll come back maybe 3 months, get a couple of things done until everything is up to speed. So that's kind of been my approach. Yeah, I can get a Toyota or Honda car that's cheaper to maintain, but it's not breaking the bank. It's something that I want, is a vehicle that I want. So that's just kind of what it is at that point. Now, the other reason why I didn't make much progress is because at some point during the year, as I kind of start buying into the recession fears and for my own internal reasons, we decided to bolster up our emergency fund. So this year, we put an additional $10,000 into our emergency fund. We got it from $20,000 to $30,000, which is essentially about 6 months for us of our essential expenses. But for that money probably would have went to the student loans. So that's kind of the breakdown of where things were. If we didn't put the extra 10K on the emergency fund and didn't have $9,000 in just general repairs and expenses, we probably would have put about $47,919 towards those debt. But again, we put $15,924 paid towards the student loan debt. We stashed away $10,000 extra in our emergency fund, and about $9,000 were for total repairs of just vehicles and homes and the whole nine. And like I said, 9,000 isn't typically the norm, but it was things that weren't essential, but I wanted to get them replaced. Shocks, stress, some of those big time things that you only got to replace every decade or so. So that kind of is where we stand. Y'all let me know if, hey, your overall financial goals for 2022 were a major success. Was it a fail? Was it an epic fail? Or was it somewhere in between? Even though I failed, I feel like it was somewhere in between. I didn't make as much progress with the debt as I wanted to, but hey, we did make some progress with the debt, and we did increase our emergency fund, which is a big deal as 2023 rolls in. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the video on the screen for more content related to finance and my family's financial journey.